The next example here says the following table, this is the table, compares the number of hours that a student spends studying and then also their test score. So I'm just going to zoom out here. And so there's the table, and then we also have this graph. And it looks like we'll probably have to, oh yeah, letter C here says complete the graph. So we're going to draw the graph and we're going to use the information from the table. But it first wants to know what is the scale of the x-axis. In fact, I realize here I don't even have a title. So let's just write that down first. A title, remember, is y versus x. And so for us, a y, I think, is going to be our score. Yeah. So it's going to be our test score versus, and I think the test score looks like it's probably 100%. No, it looks like it's in percentages. So you can get up to 100%. So I'll put a little percent sign. And then hours of studying. So test score in percent, I'll put that in brackets, versus the study time. So study time. And then I like to put in hours. So that is our title. And our y-axis here is the test score, and then I'll label to the x just for the heck of it, is going to be our study time. So our x is down here, and our y is right here. So what is, letter A, what is the scale on the x-axis, and then B, what is the scale on the y-axis? So it looks like what's every square worth here? 1, 2, 3. So every square is worth 1. But for the y-axis, every square looks like it's worth around 5. 5, 10, 15. So it looks like it's exactly 5. Perfect. So I'm going to just try to erase this a little bit nicer. 15. So the scale on the y-axis goes up by 5s, and the scale on the x-axis goes up by 1s. So the x-axis goes up by a scale of 1, and then the y-axis goes up by a scale of 5. And then comes the part where we'll be doing a lot of this in this unit, where we actually now have to graph this. So I usually like to start at the top, the first one, and that is 3 and 80. So we need to do 3 and then 80. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. I'll try to, that looks like going good. So 3 is right here, and 80 is up here. So my point is right there. So 3 and 80. So we're going to need to graph all of these. So then 5 and 90. So 5 is right here, and 90, so 5 and 90 is right there. 2 and 75. 70, oh, that's right, is that right here? Next they go up by 5, so this is 70, this is 80, so this must be 75. So that was 2 and 75, 6 and 80, 7 and 92. That's a weird one. So 7, 90 is right here. And so it probably would be good just to go slightly above that. So you're just kind of having to guess here. Now I'm at 1, oh, 1 and 50. Remember, this is halfway in between is 50, everything is 55. 57 is a little bit above that. So 1 hour of studying got you 57%. Oh, look at this one. They did 6 hours of studying, but only got 19%. Okay, so that's just below 20. So there's 6 and 19. And then we're at 2 hours of studying and got 64. So that is 65. So 64 would be slightly below. 7 gets you up to 81. So there's 80. So slightly above is 81. And 1, this person had 1 hour studying and got 40. Nice. 7, this person did 7 hours of studying and they ended up getting 100. So it looks like we had the most amount of studying was that anyone did is 7. One person got 80, 81 or 82, something there. One person got 91 or 92, somewhere in there. And then one person actually got 100. Okay, so complete the graph. So you see a bit of a pattern here, though there is this, which is kind of strange. So, okay, well, whatever. Let's take a look and see what happens. And this is actual data. So what was the average on the test? Oh, the average on the test. So to calculate the average, what we need to do is see how many people wrote. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we can add up all the scores. And so the total scores, and then you can take that and we can divide it by 11. So that's what we need to do now. So adding them all up here gets a total of 778. So if we take the 778 and then we divide that by the 11, we end up getting 70.72, so 70.7%. So that's what the average, oh, it says 2 decimal places, not 1. So it's 70.7272, so it keeps going like that. So if we want the second decimal place, look to the thing after it. It's above a 5. So it's 5 or above, so we'll round this up to not a 2, we'll round it up to a 3. So 7.73%. Nice. What is the next question? Andy earned the highest mark on the test. How many hours did Andy study? So then you want to take a look at this. What is the highest mark? So this person got a mark of like that 19%. And then the highest, oh, the 100. Someone did get 100. And that must be Andy. It's the only one person got 100%. And they studied for 7. That was a 7. So they studied for 7 hours. So then you can just write. So Andy received 100%. And studied for 7 hours. All right. Letter F. Maggie and Samaya earned the same mark on the test, but Maggie studied longer. How much longer did Maggie study more? So we're looking for people that earned the same mark on the test. So we need to look at this and see, is there anyone here that received the same mark? Received the same mark. Like these look kind of the same, but I think one of those was 92 and one was 90. Whoops. So yes, one of them is 90 and one of them is 92. So those aren't the same mark. I guess we can look here too. 80 and 80. So yeah, it looks like this one here and this one here are 80. This one was the 81%. Okay, so it looks like 80 and 80. So one person studied for 3 hours. The other person studied for 6. So 3 hours, and they got 80%. And then we got another, and then the other person had 6 hours and also got 80%. So how much longer did they study? Well, this person studied 6 hours versus the 3, so 3 hours more. So a lot of these questions are ones where you can take a look at the graph or take a look at the table, and then you want to glean some sort of information. So in this instance, 2 people got 80%, but one spent 3 hours studying, one spent 6 hours studying, and so obviously there's 3 hours difference there. Now an outlier. So an outlier is a point that does not fit with the rest of the data. circle the outlier, give a possible explanation. So it looks to me like this trend, this pattern, is heading up. The more hours you spend studying, the better mark you will get. So an outlier is one that doesn't follow the trend, and that's the one that's right there. This person spent 6 hours studying and they got, I don't know what that is, like 18%. I guess we should look at the table here and see what we got. So 6 hours of studying, and yeah, I got 19%. So that does not fit with the data, with the pattern. So I circled it, and that was 6 hours of studying, and they got, so 6 hours of studying, and they got 19%. So what could have gone wrong? Well, and you have to come up with your own explanation, but it's possible that they just were very anxious, had some sort of test anxiety, and so when they got there, they were just too nervous. Or maybe they studied and studied and studied, but they were cramming. Maybe they studied, oh yeah, maybe they were studying between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. And that's maybe not the best time to study, so they ended up forgetting. So we're going to have to try, and that's kind of the idea, is you're trying to understand, trying to read the data, and then make up some sort of explanation as to why something happened. All right, next question here, H. Which of the following best describes the trend? So when you look at trends, you have to ignore the outliers. So it says as the number of hours increases, so the number of hours of studying increases, your test score will decrease. Well, that's true for this person here. They studied 6 hours and they got a terrible mark, but that's not what the trend is. If you spend the number of hours of studying decreases, your test score will go up. So the less you study, the better your score will be. That doesn't seem true at all. As the number of hours of studying increases, your test score also increases. That to me is the pattern, is the trend. So the more hours you spend studying, the better your test score. So I'll just zoom out here so you can see all of those in case you need to make some sort of notes. And then there's a bunch of worksheets that you need to work on, and then that's for this chapter, and we'll get on to interpolation and extrapolation in the next chapter.